Hello, everybody. Mazel tov. Somebody wants to say hello. Somebody wants to say good morning. Hi. Okay. We're going to be, welcome. We're going to be starting shortly. What's unique about a Zoom Bris is usually, a Bris doesn't usually start on time because you're dealing with a newborn baby, you're dealing with a mother who just gave birth, and they don't exactly follow clocks precisely. The challenge with a Zoom Bris is that when the time comes, in this case 11 o'clock in our time, and we have a lot of family and friends back east in New York, it's 2 o'clock for them on Erev Shabbat. You come on the Zoom and you're waiting and you're ready to go. So we're going to be starting shortly. The good news is that we have the baby, and we're going to begin in a few moments as soon as all the family members are here and ready. So obviously we're in a very unique time for the whole world. Shortly I'm going to be covering my face so that the moil, so we need to be very close to each other, but we'll be protected. And we're standing, I don't know if you could tell from the video, but we're in the foyer of the front of our house. Literally where you walk in and get ready to go wherever you're going to go, which kind of is symbolic because he just walked into the foyer of his life. And from here, there's many choices of rooms, the dining room, the living room, the kitchen, the bedroom, etc. And please God, in his life, will make all the right decisions and go to the right rooms. Now, of course, the reason we're not in a shul, in a bet knesset, in a synagogue, or in our Chabad house, as is usually done for a bris, or on some occasions in a home, but it would be in the living room, is because of the current situation. We wanted to have our own immediate family. They're the only ones inside here. But right outside, we have some of the grandparents, my wife's parents, my in-laws, Dr. and Mrs. Ravnoy, who are here from Los Angeles. Unfortunately, my parents could not come from New York at this time, and as well as many other family members, but I see them waving and watching and all dressed up as if they're here in person, and it's amazing today's technology that we could all be together, at least virtually, but in real time. So this is what Hashem wants. It's definitely unique, it's definitely different, but the good news is that thank God we're all healthy, and we are continuing a tradition of over 4,000 years. The Torah was given over 3,300 years ago. In fact, we're in the midst of preparing for the anniversary of the giving of the Torah, which is about 3 weeks away, known as Shavuot, exactly 7 weeks after Passover, the beginning of Passover, after the Exodus from Egypt. And when the Torah was given, we got all the mitzvot. But the mitzvah of Brit Milah, the mitzvah of the covenant, goes back to Abraham, which is why it's called Bris shel Avraham Avinu, the covenant of Abraham. And the reason for that is because when Abraham was 99 years old, God told him that I want you to circumcise yourself. The word bris actually doesn't mean circumcision, it means covenant. This will be a covenant. It's ois bebris kodesh, it's a holy covenant. It says it 13 times in the Torah. The word bris in connection with the circumcision. And so God told Abraham that once you circumcise yourself, then you'll be blessed with a child from Sarah. Of course, we know the rest of the story, which is that Sarah became the first Jewish mother, and that was after Abraham's circumcision. So Abraham at that point was 100 and Sarah was 90, and they were blessed with their first child, Isaac, who was the firstborn Jew. And since then, the Torah tells us, God commands us that every Jewish baby born should have his circumcision. And in fact, it should be done on a specific day, the 8th day since birth, which in the case of this nameless baby, today is exactly 8 days. He was born Friday morning. So today is the 8th day. We do it already. It doesn't have to be full 8 days, but on the 8th day, the only exception to that is if there's a health concern, then it's pushed off. So we're about to enter into the covenant of Abraham with the special bris. If you have the Siddur, Could someone tell me what page it is in the Chabad Siddur? It's right out there. Is that the one with the English? What? If you have a Siddur at home, look inside at the index for Bris ceremony. It has the prayers that we're going to say. For the family here, we have copies there. And for the family outside, we have copies on the table. Okay. Now we're ready to begin. Usually the baby is brought in with a kvater and a kvaterin. It's generally a couple, oftentimes a couple that have not yet been blessed with a child. I do have my brother and sister-in-law outside. They're the honorary kvaterin today. So we wave to them. They get the zechus, the merit of being able to symbolically bring the child in. But to actually physically bring the child, we have something unique due to the situation, which is an older brother and an older sister. So, Yehudis Yafa, our oldest daughter, pass the phone to Chaya, is going to take the baby from the mommy. Should we bring him in on the pillow?
No, it's okay.
And once our daughter Yafa is holding the baby, she is going to pass it, bring the baby a little closer. You're going to pass it to our son, Mati, who's going to hold it, and we all say together, Baruch haba.
Baruch haba, Baruch haba,
the chair that the baby was just put down upon is called Kisei Shel Eliyahu, the chair of Elijah. Oftentimes there's a fancy chair in our home. It's a plain chair, but here, shout out to my dad, who the cover of this book, Brit Milah, has his artwork with a beautiful Kisei Shel Eliyahu, a cup of Elijah, the chair of Elijah. So at this point, it's customary to invite all the blessings we can. This is a letter that was sent to my parents upon my birth, almost over 41 years ago. In August will be 42 years ago for the Bris. And this is the letter that the Rebbe would send. I'm going to read it in Hebrew. This is the original that's framed. I have it hanging in our home. And I'm going to give the honor to Rabbi Avraham Freeman, who is a shliach, a messenger, a Chabad shliach to our community, to Oxnard, California. He and his wife, Cherry, are teachers at Lamplighters Jewish Academy at the Jewish School. Please God, this baby will be a future student of Lamplighters. So we'll honor Rabbi Freeman to read the Rebbe's letter in English. He can come near the door, Rabbi Freeman. You can come near the door so people can see and hear, and you'll read the letter in English. So here's the Hebrew. Shalom uvracha. V'mana alayda shenel lehem ben lemazel tov. Hine yihi ratzei me Hashem yisbarech sheyachnisu lebrisei shel Avraham Avinu u'kashem sheyachnisu lebris kein yachnisu leTorah u'lechuppah lemasim tovim yegadlu biyachad im zugasit tichya mitoch harchava beberchas mazel tov. Simas Yad Kachik from Rebbe, the Rebbe's signature. Rabbi Freeman, come to the front door, please. If you're not near anyone, you can take off your mask so we can see you. He's going to read the letter in English out loud, please. Okay, read it out loud. Read it loud. Okay. All right. Move a little over so we can see you. A little over to the middle of the door. There you go. Go ahead. And louder in English. Yep. Go ahead.
To the Rav and Chassid, a man who fears God, pleasant and gracious, etc. Greetings and blessings. In response to your notification that a son was born to you in an auspicious hour, may it be God's will that you bring him into the covenant of Avraham, our father. And just as you bring him into the covenant, so may you bring him up to Torah, to marriage, and to good deeds. May you raise him together with your wife. May she be well in prosperity. With blessings of Mazel Tov and the Rebbe's signature.
Amen. Thank you. Leave the hand back on. Put your hand back on. It's customary to recite Birchat Kohanim, the priestly blessing. Unfortunately, we don't have a Kohen in the house at the moment. But last night, before the baby went to sleep and said Shema, there was a Kohen walking past a neighbor, and with social distancing, I went over with the baby, and he said the Birchat Kohanim. So we'll do it all together now. If we have a Kohen online, please say the Birchat Kohanim at this time. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Yered Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Samu Eshmi al b'nei Yisrael v'ani avarachem.
Please make sure they don't come down the steps.
Before you can, you just make sure there's your
Bris, my step.
Okay, put your feet on the pick up the baby, keep your knees together. Keep your knees together.
Baby just got his first taste of kosher wine. That's why he's so quiet. L'chaim. Okay, in a moment after you hear the blessing, say Amen. And after the second blessing that I, the father of the baby, says, everyone responds, Kishem shenichnas labris, ken yikanes l'toyda l'chupa ma'asim toydim. Everybody, we have Kavanah that this is bringing a carbon touchdown.
Bris, Kodesh, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvos u'b'tzvos ha'olamim.
Amen. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvos u'b'tzivanu la'achnisoi b'brisoi shel Avraham Avinu. Everyone responds, Kishem, Shenichnas, Labris, Kain, Yikanes, L'Seida, L'Chupa, U'Ma'asim Tovim. Just as he has entered into the covenant, so may enter and go to Torah, to Chuppah, to marriage, L'Masim Tovim, and to good deeds. I'm going to ask my father-in-law, Dr. Ravnoy, right outside the front door to fill up a cup of wine and get ready for the blessing, which includes the baby naming.
Don't stop yet, don't stop yet.
Okay, we're now going to do the naming. Humphrey, could you turn this so people can see? Okay, we're ready. Amen. Amen.
אלוהינו ולעושנו, חיי מסייע לזה להביא ולאמו, ויקרא שמו בישראל.
Avraham.
וואו! מאחר נצא חלצה, וגן עמו. וואו. ככתוב, שמח אביך ואמך, וגר ילדך, ונאמר, ויבוא עלייך מתבססת בדמייך.
ואומר לך בדמי חיי. ואומר לך בדמי חיי.
דבר ציווה לילדו, אשר חרש את אברהם שעודו ליצחק, והנביאה ליעקב חוק ישראל בכולם. ונאמר, וימול אברהם את יצחק בנו בן 8 ימים, כאשר ציווה אותו אלוהים.
Hoidu ladinai ki toiv ki li'olam chasdoi. Hoidu ladinai ki toiv ki li'olam chasdoi.
אברהם זה אדם גדול יהיה.
Kishem shenichnas labris, ken yikanes l'torah l'chuppah u'ma'asim toivim. For those who missed it, the baby's name is Avraham, after Racheli's Saba, grandfather of blessed memory. Yidvayni shaloylam yehirat zainu fanecha sheyeh zechashav v'mkubel fanecha ki ilu hikraftiu lifnei chisei chveidecha v'ata b'rachamecha aram imshlachei de malachecha akneshim d'shama kedosha tahira livni Avraham ben Doiver animal adal shimcha gadol v'shiyeh liboy pasuach kipitzchei shel ulam v'seirascha aknei shel lumoy d'olamim lishmer v'lasais v'sein loy arichas yomim v'shanim chaim shel yiras chet Chaim shal oisha v'chavit v'shetamalim yishal es libe l'teva amen v'chein yehi ratzai.
Avraham ben
Rachel.
Bavo Shalom
Doiver.
ben
Tzipora Shalamis.
Ben Sipar
Ben Michal Ezra.
Ben Michal Ezra Nadav Nina that Saka Lebikafan Mefata Gadir Rafa Yitzchak and Hedu Fush and Michal and Achevan Rich and Samach Gida. Gadul Teira Luchup on the mice and Teira and Naima. Amen.
Amen. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. I want at this holy moment. I want to use the opportunity to say a prayer for all those who need a refuah shalema. Right after the baby has a bris is a very, very holy time. Unfortunately, there's many people that are ill. I can't name them all by name, but I will name a close family friend in Los Angeles that needs our prayers. Baruch Avraham Aaron Ben Yenta, and all those others who need a refuah shalema, complete healing. Hashem should send it to them immediately, and we should only have a world of blessings, of health and happiness and peace with the coming of Mashiach today. Amen. As Kol Avraham Aaron Ben Yenta, as Kol Shaychel Yisrael Bavur Shitim B'neder Stak Bavur Mischazak Hashbach V'Yimali Rachem Alim Lachum HaPois V'Achzikim V'Yesam Yishlach Lehem Mehedu Refuah Shalem Yishmayim Rach B'Nei Mishtagedim B'Seik Shaychel Yisrael Refuah Sanefesh Refuah Seguf and Neymar Amen. May everyone have a Refuah Shalem and only health and happiness and blessings. Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. For a second. Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Yehelanu. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, oh, Lecha Yisrael, Yehelanu. Yeah, Mazel Tov. We now are going to pass the baby back to the mommy. Baby. Okay. And give it to Yafa. Give it to Yafa. Okay, could
Just hang around here for 5 minutes. He was holding the thing like a cigar.
Okay, you
He's holding it like that.
hold this on me. Hold this on me. Turn it on. L'chaim, l'chaim, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam b'rei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Chaim, thank you all for joining us. I wish you could all be here in person, but we wish the new baby Avraham a life of health, of happiness, of blessings, and he should grow up in a world of happiness and a world of no illness and no pain and no suffering. And today would be the best day. Today, in addition to being a very joyous day in our own family and for all of the Jewish people, because a new baby entered the covenant of Abraham, which it turns out his name is Abraham, Avraham. So when we say the Bris shel Avraham, it's literally the Bris of Avraham. Of course, we didn't say that until he was named moments ago. But today is also Pesach Sheni, the second Passover, which is 1 month after Pesach, and it's an opportunity for second chances. If anybody wasn't able to bring the Paschal lamb a month ago during the times of the temple because they were impure or they were too far away from the temple, they had a second chance today, exactly 1 month later. And tonight, which is 1 month from when we had the Seder, they would sit down and have the matzah and the Paschal lamb and do the Seder. So, of course, we don't do that today because we don't have the offering, but we do have the lesson of Es Nishtakin for Fallen. It's never too late. There's always second chances. So God should bless us all with health and happiness and give us a second chance to bring Mashiach, to bring redemption and peace to the world. Let it happen today. Amen.
Amen.
The mother of the baby would like to share something.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us in person and virtually. Just wanted to share 2 thoughts. One was that today has been a special day in our family for 19 years. 19 years ago, my mother, may she be well, had a heart transplant and was given a second chance of life. And so we've been celebrating today for many years because we have my mother healthy and well. And that makes today special. So I want to make a l'chaim and a thank you to Hashem for my mother's health and that she should live to see Mashiach and beyond.
Amen.
I knew that this baby was very connected to my mother. Because she dreamt about this baby twice. Once right when I found out I was pregnant and once right when I went into labor. So I knew there was a very special connection between this baby and my mother, and I'm so happy that we're able to honor you, Ima, in this way for your father. And I know that my mother takes after my Saba, for my memories of my Saba, the 2 words that come to mind are strong and happy. Those are the 2 words that come to me, that he was so strong. We used to play together with this little hand game, and he was too strong. And then he used to tickle us and make us really happy. And my mother as well makes us and our children so, everyone knows her as strong and very happy and upbeat. So I just want to thank Hashem on this day and thank you all for being part of this. And we are so excited to welcome Avraham Muchnik.
Thank you. Mazel tov. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
So it's customary to have a meal after the bris. It's called a Su'udat Mitzvah. I wish we could have you all over, but wherever you are in your home, please eat something extra, and especially it's customary to eat matzah today. So wash your hands, find some leftover matzah, make the hamotzi, and have in mind the lesson of the second Pesach, and also that it's a mitzvah to have a meal in connection with the bris. It's a very, very holy day for everyone who participates, and all of you have participated. L'chaim, l'chaim. And we should celebrate many, many happy occasions together. I'm going to leave this on a little longer because if things settle, I'm going to share the Hasidic discourse, the mimer that's usually done at the meal, but the meal will be in the next door over. So in a moment, I'm going to sit down and do that for those who would like to stay on. L'chaim and Mazel Tov. I want to do the bris. You want to leave him here for that?
Look.
What?
How close can I get? He's sucking his thumb.
You can turn that off. Mazel tov. Thank you all for joining. All right. Do you know what? Did you hear what the baby's name is? The baby's name is Avraham.
Is he still online? He's still on?
I'm going to give the family a challenge.
Okay, Kindle, go up the steps a little bit so Rabbi Kremen can go back and forth here. Rabbi Kremen, I want to do the mimer now sitting there. Is that okay?
Yes, bring me the name. Yeah, this is my message.
Wait, make sure it's
Maybe I need to go out.
Otherwise, it won't.
She actually never took it like this. She never took it back. Oh,
Okay.
wow. You do that.
Guys.
Okay, while the baby,
All right, you have to stand the steps.
Mommy, he wants to check the next one.
It's the wrong baby crying today.
I'm still on one.
Alright, what flavor do you want?
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Okay, wait, Mati, leave it on.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, whoever knows the melody that's sung before the mimer, please join along. And then I'm going to share a mystical teaching based on Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism that I actually studied last night. It's customary for the father of the baby to remain awake all night before the bris until dawn. Dawn was at 4:31, so we made sure to be up all night studying Torah. And part of it is parts of the Zohar, the main work of Kabbalah, of Jewish mysticism, and also a teaching from the first Rebbe of Chabad, the author of the Tanya, on the deeper meaning to the spiritual meaning behind the bris. Incidentally, it ties very much into Avraham, who was the first one who had a bris, as you are going to hear. Mati, please help with the niggin before. That's how I am as Avraham, the Gomer. It says in the Torah, in Genesis, in the first book of the Torah, that Hashem, God, told Avraham to be circumcised, and he was circumcised in the middle of the day, during the essence of the day, which is an unusual expression. Now we need to understand how come Avraham waited until he was 99 years old to have his bris, since he kept all of the Torah. Our sages teach us that Abraham kept the Torah, and Isaac and Jacob kept the Torah even before it was commanded from God, including even a rabbinic enactment called Erev Tafshilin. So if that's the case, why didn't Avraham do the bris before being commanded by God? Why did he have to wait to be commanded as opposed to all the other mitzvahs? So first we need to understand what is the deeper significance to the bris milah. It says in Psalms that the Torah, in Deuteronomy, the Torah is not up in heaven for somebody to say, Mi ya'aleh lanu hashamayim, who can crawl up to heaven to get it. Rather, the Torah is very close and accessible to all of us. Now, if you look closely in Hebrew at the last four letters of that verse, that the Torah is not up in heaven, that someone will climb up. Mi ya'aleh lanu hashamayim, mem yud lamed hey. The first four letters of those words spells the word milah, circumcision, the bris. And if you look at the last four letters of Mi, Yaleh, Lanu, Shemaima, it's Yud, then a Hey, then a Vav, then a Hey, which is the Tetragrammaton. It's the ineffable name of God. the Yud Kei Vav Kei. So the first 4 letters is Bris Milah, and the last 4 letters of those words is Havaya, Yud Kei Vav Kei. Now, here's a fascinating thing. There's a regular circumcision that we just witnessed, the physical circumcision, but there's also a circumcision that's referenced many times in the Torah by the prophets. You shall circumcise your heart. And God should circumcise your heart. What does that mean to circumcise your heart? Well, parenthetically, today is the anniversary, as Racheli mentioned, of her mother, my mother-in-law's heart transplant 19 years ago today on this special day. And we're thankful for those miracles. But there's also, that's a physical surgery in the heart. But circumcising your heart is a spiritual concept that's mentioned in the Torah many times. It means tshuva, repentance, coming closer to God, to take away the negativity in our heart. Similar to the bris milah, you take off the foreskin, you take off the negative element spiritually of the foreskin, represents the other side, the opposite of holiness. So too in our heart, we need to take off the negativity. So it turns out that we have 2 types of bris. We have the physical bris that's done on a baby boy, and we have the spiritual bris for every single Jew, which is to circumcise our heart. In other words, to be more sensitive and to be more in touch with our neshama, with our God-given soul. Now, these different bris milahs, one of them is milah mata l'mayla, from below to above, which is when a Jew returns to God and comes closer to his or her source. That's the circumcision of the heart. But then there's also the bris milah, which comes from above, which is the commandment from God for us to do it. Now, Avraham didn't do the bris milah, the physical one, because that has to come as a command from God. But the work on circumcising our heart, which is from below to above, milah mata l'mayla, tshuva, coming closer to God. In other words, Torah, observance, mitzvah, good deeds, and God's commandments, that is something that Abraham kept without being commanded because it comes from below. It doesn't have to come from God. Now, what's fascinating is that the bris milah is, in a sense, greater than God. What does that mean? If you look at that verse, Mi ya'alanu hashamayma, who can go up to heaven? The first 4 letters of those last words spells milah, the bris milah circumcision. And it's only the last 4 letters, in other words, secondary, that spells Yud Kei Vav Kei, the God's name. In other words, a bris milah is higher than Yud Kei Vav Kei, is higher than a very high level of godliness, which is why it says that anybody who participates, this is not in the mimer, I'm adding it in, that anybody who participates in a bris, in this case, those are here physically, but also those that are here virtually, it says all of their sins are forgiven because it's such a high level of godliness. It's akin to the highest time of Yom Kippur, when at the end, the Elah, when the gates of heaven are open and all sins are forgiven. And those letters of Yud Kei Vav Kei represent different things. Kabbalistically, Yud is Tzimtzum, is very small. Hey is Hispashtus, it's wide. Vav is Hamshacha, etc. So what we're doing is we're bringing down this high level of godliness into our lives and into our neshama. In fact, it says in the Torah 13 times the concept of bris, of covenant, because this is such a great concept that we need to work on it constantly to circumcise our hearts in order to become closer to God, to become more sensitive, and to become more in touch with our neshama, with our soul. So we have these 2 different bris milah, we have these 2 different circumcisions, the physical one and the spiritual one. And when these 2 work together, that's the completion of milah and Yud Kei Vav Kei, milah and Oshamayro, that we can reach all the way up to the heavens. Now, Avraham got this as a gift from God, which is why it says Nimal Avraham, which in Hebrew would be translated as he was circumcised, as if someone else did it, when in reality he did it to himself. Why is that? Because since he reached such a high level of spirituality, so therefore, when it came time to do the physical bris milah, it was the last thing that needed to be done for him to be complete. And that's why he had the baby, Yitzchak, because he was now complete. And since that was the last thing that needed to be done, and he did everything to prepare for that, therefore, at that point, it's as if God did it, Nimal Avraham, as opposed to he should do it. Instead of saying that it was done to him, that also explains why it says Be'etzem Hayom Hazeh. Be'etzem literally means in middle. So the deeper idea is Ba'atzmi Shel Yom, in the essence of the day, meaning the day, which is light, which is godliness, was Be'etzem, was revealed. So the essence of the day, the revelation of the future redemption, was so great that it was revealed at that point with Avraham Avinu. And that is the case with every single time there's a bris milah, that there's a very, very high level of godliness that's revealed. nine, 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 nine. So l'chaim, mazel tov. We're going to now have a meal, and we'll celebrate. Today is called a Yom HaIlula, a day of celebration, not only for our family, but for all Am Yisrael, for all the nation of Israel. The Jewish stocks just went up. People are worried about the stock market. The stocks just went up because there's another Bnei Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, another descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who was brought into the Bris shel Avraham Avinu, the covenant, and as was mentioned in this case, his actual name is Avraham. May he grow up to be like the first Avraham, who taught Torah to the whole world, and like his namesake, Racheli's grandfather, Saba Avraham, who was a Holocaust survivor from Czechoslovakia and Romania, and went through many, many hardships, and then moved to the Holy Land of Israel, and had great faith, and kept Torah and mitzvahs, and brought up a family, and was loved by his children and his grandchildren, and had, like Avraham, an open door. It's another reason we're doing it right near the front door. We have an open door policy, just like the first Avraham, and just like his namesake, his grandfather, always had a lot of guests. So one last word from the mother, and here you have another view of the baby, L'chaim and Mazel Tov.
One last thing I had to point out was that this child was born into the strangest of times, with everything going on. And I keep thinking about how, like, this is such an unknown time. We don't know where we're going, what's happening today, tomorrow. And whenever I think of Avraham Avinu, Avraham, our father, I think of Lech Lecha, how Hashem told him just go. He didn't tell him where you're going, when, why, when's it going to be over, how's it all going to work out. Just go and trust in Hashem. And it's really cool that this Avraham is born into a time where he's kind of forced into that. Just go. Just do another mitzvah. I don't know where we're going to be, how things are going to wrap up with Corona. We don't know, but we trust in Hashem, just like Avraham. So thank you for being part of it.
Thank you, Mazel Tov. Thank you all for joining. Next Simcha, by any of you, we would love to join in person. Mazel Tov, Bubby, Mazel Tov, Zaidi, Mazel Tov, uncles and aunts and cousins. We'll call you offline afterwards. Thank you, everybody, for joining. We love you all. We should have many, many happy occasions together. Mazel Tov, good Shabbos, and happy Pesach Sheni.